cartoons, turtle looks very cute, but in real life, I think all turtles look this ugly because I have actually had two turtle pets before,
I have
and
one turtle pet that's beautiful.
that's cool. I didn't know you have a
Wonderful.
turtle pet. Yeah, but this is what loggerhead turtles look like. And if you remember, basically what happened is that, yeah, go ahead. Did you want to say something?
I don't know. I don't know the word.
Okay, perhaps the words will come back to you as we wait a bit. Yeah. So basically, there's a turtle named Adelita, and she swam across 9,000 miles. The reason why she was able to do it is because of two things. She needed the direction and the length. Now, what helped her understand her direction and her length? Well, there is this scientist named Nathan Putman, and Nathan Putman experimented the uh, the Earth's magnetic field for her as part of what's known as like the global positioning system, so that the Earth's magnetic field acts as her uh, acts as her GPS. And now he also realized that both latitude and longitude help her read in the correct exact direction. And Ken Lohman is the boss of Putman. Ken Lohman has even more expertise than Putman. Ken Lohman has been studying the magnetic abilities for over 20 years, and he realizes that the latitude and longitude is just an electromagnetic coil like that.
Oh, I just remember what I'm gonna say.
Okay, what are you going to say?
I have one turtle pet and two snails, two big
Oh,
snails.
cool. That's
This big.
cool. Yeah, very cool. So,
The one is already dead and only
oh,
lived.
that's okay. I think I used to have a lot of goldfish and I had bunnies. I also used to have a dog, but these pets, they all end up dying and that's very sad.
Like when my mom's small, they like to go in the pond and catch a type of fish. I don't know what is it called. And I went by the lake with my friends and
Mm-hmm.
caught some of the fishes and back.
That's cool. Do you like fishing?
But I just used the net,
Yeah,
not using the hook.
I see. I see. I think that's very fun as well, and that's I think perhaps more
There's
ethical.
a lot of
Mhm.
scary things by the lake. There's kind
Oh,
of creature. It's mm, it's disgusting and black. It's very small and it's just like a worm. Boom, it can make long and it can and
that's
it's
cool.
not poisonous, but it can go inside our body and kill us.
Very dangerous. Yeah. I think I think
They
it's mhm.
type of bug eat our blood more than one mosquito.
Mm. I have never heard of that. I thought mosquitoes were possibly the worst things in this world that could eat our blood, but I didn't know there are even worse things.
Well, the animal could go from our body and to our heart, and we would die.
It's very scary. Yeah. I don't really go fishing. I've never been to a pond, so.
And I went back. I said, I don't
Um,
want to go back by the lake again because
yeah.
I'm scared of bugs. This one is more disgusting than the other bugs.
Yeah. I'm really afraid of bugs, especially in the summer. And I remember that you're afraid of spiders, did you say? So yeah, we're about the same. But basically,
Mosquitoes, this, that, all of kind of insect and bugs and small little creepy things.
yes, small little creepy things, exactly. So basically, in this article, we see that Ken Loman realizes that it's a coil, so it looks like a net, it looks like a grid that is leading the turtle in the right direction. And how he realized that, how he found the specific evidence, is that if he reversed the direction of the magnetic field, then what would happen? Then the turtle would turn. So he turns where the electromagnetic grid is going, then the turtle changes direction too. Now, later, Lohmann showed that they can use the magnetic field to work out the positions. So not only can they find the direction, but also can they find the length. And those are very important. Now, one more thing. We realized that if that the turtles can use their magnetic fence to work out the latitude, then position at a north-south axis. So if it's so if it's talking about latitude, then it's north-south. If it's longitude, then it's east-west. Now, one more thing that's kind of important is that the angle is kind of opposite to where the electromagnetic field is towards. So if you remember, for West Atlantic, the direction is going northeast. For East Atlantic, it's going southwest. And we drew an image of this on ourselves right here. Yeah. So the field is going north. If the field is going east, west. So this is west. Then the turtle will go northeast. If the field is going east, then the turtle will go southwest. Very good. So what are the last two questions that we never got to? Could you read me number 5, Daisy?
Okay. The author refers to reed warblers and sparrows. Line 37 primarily to contrast the loggerhead turtle's migration patterns with those of other species, provide examples of species that share one of the loggerhead turtle's abilities, suggest that most animal species possess some ability to navigate long distance, illustrates some ways in which the ability to navigate long distance can help a species.
Yeah. Now let's see where exactly it's talking about. So line 37. The thing is, our format is kind of different than the original one because I changed up the format, the spacing, the font, and everything. So warblers and sparrows is not in line 37. Instead, it is right. It's right here. Read warblers and sparrows. Now, why did the author mention this? What do you think, Daisy? Why do you think the author mentioned read warblers and sparrows? Could you tell me the reason in your own words? So why do you think they mentioned that?
I
So I think one important part to realize is, but no one knew how. So no one actually knows how reed warblers and sparrows find their way. Uh, and you can see that by keeping the turtles in the same conditions with only the magnetic field around them, Putman clearly showed that they can use the fields to find their way. In the wild, they may well also use other landmarks like the position of the sea, sun, and stars. So notice that, Daisy, that starting from here by keeping the turtles in the same direct condition, blah, 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 blah. Is this talking about warblers and sparrows?
Mm,
No, right? Because about warblers and sparrows, it stopped exactly here, that there is no more of them after. So what we can eliminate is, let's see, we can eliminate B. Why do you think we could eliminate B?
the answer. What could the answer be?
Wait, actually, we are not eliminating B. Instead, how about, can you read part C?
Part C.
Yes,
Okay.
could you read part C?
Huh?
Yes, please read part C.
What is part C?
So C says, suggests that most animal species possess some ability to navigate long distances. So does the article suggest that most animal species possess some ability to navigate long distances? What do you think?
Oh,
So most means there are a lot. So the article isn't saying that there are a lot or that more than 50% of animals can navigate long distance, right? Right, Daisy?
right.
Yeah. So we can eliminate C. Do you remember what the word eliminate means? Eliminate.
Eliminate.
Eliminate. Eliminate. And we learned the process of elimination last time. So that's the process of elimination, and that's how you spell eliminate. So the first one that we're eliminating is C, because we don't see anywhere that suggests that most or more than 50% of animal species possess the ability to navigate long distances. That it's not saying that more than 50% of animals do that, right? We have nowhere in the article that suggests an evidence of this. Now let's see part D. Illustrate some ways in which the ability to navigate long distance can help a species. Do you think it's part D?
Um, I think it. You said it isn't part C, and it isn't part B.
What do you mean?
The answer isn't part B. It isn't B.
Why do you think it's not D?
What?
Why do you think it's not D? Okay, so I didn't say it's not D. I said it's not C. And this is our process of elimination, that we don't really know which one is correct at first because it seems that everything is so complicated to digest. So instead of picking which one is true, we're going to pick which ones are false. And we're going to cross out the ones that are false. So the first one that I saw that could be false is C, because C says that most animal species possess some ability to navigate a long distance. It doesn't say that. The article simply gave two examples. It gave the first example as reed warblers and the second example as sparrows. It doesn't say anywhere that more than 50% of animals are able to do something just like Adelita, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, very good. Now, what about D? Do you think D is the correct answer?
Pardon?
Do you think D is the correct answer?
I didn't say I think D is the
No, I know. So you think D is not the correct answer?
I just guess.
Mm-hmm. So D is not the correct answer. And the reason is that D says ways. Navigating long distance can help a species. So if it was D, like suppose the answer is D, then the article would instead say that for species like reed warblers and sparrows and loggerhead turtles, how exactly does helping them navigate long distance help their species? Does it help them survive? Did it say anywhere that reed warblers and sparrows can survive better when they are traveling long distances? No. Does it say that perhaps they can perhaps like have kids, have reed warblers or sparrow babies better if they travel long distances? No, it doesn't say anything. It just says that it's a thing, but it doesn't say the ways in which traveling long distance can help a species. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it didn't list the ways in which the long distance travel is beneficial. Now, what about A? Do you think A is the answer?
A. I think B is the correct answer.
I think so too. So A is the incorrect answer. Now let's talk about A. A, it did not contrast the turtle's migration patterns with those of other species because it simply said that we don't know about the other species. So if we contrast the migration patterns with sparrows and also reed warblers, then how we would actually approach the article is that we would say, here's exactly how they are different, exactly how they're the same, the reasons perhaps why they're different, and the reasons why they're the same. But the readers don't know any of that information. All we're given is that no one knows how, so we don't know anything about reed warblers and sparrows. And that's why A is incorrect. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. Now tell me why you think B is correct.
What?
Tell me why you think B is correct. Why do you think B is the correct answer?
I think A isn't the correct answer, so B is the answer.
Yeah, very good. You're learning the process of elimination, that if A, C, and D are all incorrect, then B must be correct. And that's a good way to approach questions that we don't really understand at first, just on the test to get it right. But now that we are not actually taking the test, but instead we're analyzing the problems, let's try to figure out why B is correct. So B says, provide examples of species that share one of the loggerhead turtle's abilities. What do you think that means? One of the loggerhead turtle's abilities.
What?
Yeah. What do you think the one of the loggerhead turtle's abilities refer to exactly? So which ability is it talking about? Hello.
Hello.
Yes. So it's talking about navigation, right? So specifically, it's talking about I'm having bad handwriting again because I am using my finger. Let me zoom in. It's talking about navigation. Do you know what navigation means, Daisy?
Navigation.
Yes. Do you know what navigation is?
No.
Yeah, so navigation is going in the right direction. So basically, what we've been reading about this whole time, that navigation is being able to find exactly where it wants to go. Having the direction and the length are both part of what we call navigation. So, uh, navigation, let me spell that for you. Navigation. Yes. Very good. So the answer is B, because it tells us a species that shares one of the loggerhead turtle's abilities. So species that share this navigation ability. Very good. What about number 6? Could you read me the question?
It can reasonably infer from the passage and graphic that if scientists adjust the coals to reverse the magnetic field, simulating that in the East Atlantic Cape Verde Island, the hatchlings would most likely swim in which direction?
Yeah, very good. So could you tell me what does the word reverse mean? Also, Daisy,
Reverse?
you read this word wrong. This is reasonably. Could you say reasonably?
Reasonably.
Yes. What does the word reverse mean? The reverse means going the opposite direction. So if I say, Daisy, I want to, let's see, how can I make a sentence with reverse? How about, when I go to school, I go this direction. Hold on. Where did my pen go? Okay. When I go to school, I go this. I go to the right direction. Now, when I come back from school, when I go home, I go in the reverse direction. Does that make sense?
Oh.
So when I go to school, I go this way. When I come back home, I go that way. So I go in the reverse direction. Reverse means opposite. Yeah. So if we reverse the magnetic field, simulating that in the East Atlantic, then hatchlings would most likely swim in which direction? So let's go back. Which one is the East Atlantic? It's the one on the right, correct? So suppose that we are talking about reversing the electromagnetic field here. Now, where would turtle hatchlings swim?
Turtle hatchling.
Yes. So if we reversed this.
This way is this way. East or west?
So currently it's going this direction. This is not called. Now this is north, south, east, west. What would this current direction be in?
Between north and east. Northeast.
So the correct answer is this one, you said?
Yeah.
I agree with you because right now it is going in the southwest direction. So if we reverse it, of course it will be in the northeast direction. Very good. Very, very good. Northeast is the answer.
Northeast.
Yes. Very good. All right. Now, I want to ask you that since we have completed this part, where would you like to study next?
Um, my outline.
Your outline. Okay. Now, your outline, I was going to just talk about the process for a scientific experiment and to emphasize how exactly we get to those places. So let's get started. But I was also hoping to finish everything in the last few minutes, even though I don't know if that would be possible. I understand that we spend a lot of time on each thing, so perhaps it wouldn't be reasonable to try to finish all three things in one sitting. I still want as much as possible because we look, how many articles do you have to read? Like we have like 20 articles. We have 40 pages, and we want to move on to a different one in every other class. So, for example, if we start reading this on, where's my pen? Do you know what it means every other day to move on? So basically what that means is that if we read this on Tuesday, then I want us to finish this on Thursday and start this on Saturday as well as the next Tuesday. Does that make sense? So we're spending 2 lessons on each article.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have we have some work to do, but that's okay. I'm excited. This is challenging and I love challenges. Okay, so Daisy, what is a lab report?
Lab report is a written report detailing the scientific method.
Yes. Now, do you remember what the scientific method is? Do you remember what the scientific method is?
The steps.
Yeah. So the scientific method is actually not the. It's actually a quite complicated step, and we have covered this in our first ever lesson. But I don't know if you remember our first ever lesson. So let me review that with you. So the first step of a scientific method is to ask a question. Then, after you ask a question, you can do background research. Do you know what a hypothesis is?
Hypothesis is your guess.
Yes, very good.
What is the
Yes. So hypothesis could be that you either support the question or you disagree with what the question is asking for. And this is just an educated guess. So an educated guess, down for you, what do you think that means? An educated guess. An educated guess means that you're not picking random things, but instead these have their reasonings. So yes, so then you'll test out the experiment. Ooh, that's the most fun part. And you'll see if the procedures are working. If they're not working, then you're going to try again. If they're working, then yay, you can move on. Then you analyze the data. You see if the results align with your hypothesis. If it does, then great. You have successfully done your experiment. If it doesn't, then that's fine too. And you can figure out why it doesn't and how you can improve. Now, scientific experiments, they are very useful and fun, and I believe that Scientific experiments are the very basics to understand what exactly is going on in the world as a scientist. So yeah, and baby, I believe you have done your homework very well. That you have first a title, then specific question slash problem, and then you're going to talk about hypothesis. You're going to talk about the materials needed, the procedures or steps to do the experiment. Yeah. So I guess just to test your understanding, can you paraphrase these for me? What is a, what do we want the title to be, Daisy? How do you want the title? Yeah.
Um,
What does the word eye-catching mean?
eye-catching. Look here, look here.
Not quite. So eye-catching means that it's so exciting that everyone wants to see it. So when you see a title that's eye-catching, they're like, ooh, that's a very interesting experiment, and I want to find out more about it. Imagine you are one of the adults here who are looking at kids' scientific experiment, and you see this boy's title, and it's so eye-catching. It seems so interesting. Then you immediately go. But if, for example, uh, this girl has an interesting title, then we think, oh my, I want to go learn more about it. So you go. But if this boy does not have an interesting title, instead his title is very boring, then you might think, okay, I don't think I'm interested. So that's the benefit of an eye-catching title. Now, what is the question slash problem, Daisy?
Question. What is the experiment about, and what am I going to discover?
Yeah, very good. So in the one that we just read about, their question was what? What was their question?
What?
What do you think their question was? Their question was, how do loggerhead turtles find their destination, right? So here, how did she steer a route across 2 Atlantic Oceans to find her destination? So how in the world do loggerhead turtles do this? So that was their question. Now, what about hypothesis? What do you think the word hypothesis means?
My guess for this experiment.
Yeah. So
Guess
notice.
what the conclusion is.
Yeah, very good. Very good. What about materials needed?
Material needed is the things I need to use for this experiment.
Yeah. The procedures and steps, what does that mean?
Steps.
So basically it's like a recipe. What do you think the word recipe means?
Hello?
Yes, hello. What do you think the word recipe means? What is a recipe?
Recipe. Recipe is a recipe is a
It's a step-by-step guidance for cooking, right?
yes. For
What are some of your recipes, Daisy?
I wrote a recipe. I wrote a recipe for Peking duck.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, definitely. So results, we have 2 kinds of results. We have observations and data. So observations is what we call qualitative results, and data is what we call quantitative results. So I'm going to spell that for you. So the first kind is qualitative results. Second kind is quantitative. Why do you think both are important?
Both are important.
Why do you think both of these are important? So why do we want both quantitative and qualitative? The reason why is because for quantitative, we can see exactly the numbers and we can analyze the numbers better. For qualitative, we always want to know what is going on. Did something happen? Was there like foaming? What did it look like? What did it smell like? What does it feel like? So that's the reason why. And for conclusion, that it's basically answering the question. So very good. I'm very proud of you that you know exactly what is happening. Okay, great. We have one last thing to do, and then we'll be all done for today. The last thing that I want us to do is the second part of this article. Do you remember the battery, the things about battery that we read last time? The sodium ion battery. Do you remember?
Where the batteries come from
Yeah.
these things.
And what is that to help? It's to help load shedding, which basically means
There is no more electricity in the whole town.
Yeah, so there's no electricity in the whole town, somewhere in Pakistan, and that's very, very sad in my opinion. So that's what it's there to help with. Very good. Now, where did we stop? We stopped right here. The reality is that these shutdowns can stretch from 5 to 9 hours at a time, coming and going at the whims of WAPDA. Do you remember what the word whims means? Yeah, so we learned the usage of the word, the phrase, at a whim. Oh, yeah, and we also learned the usage of the phrase at the whims. So you can say either on a whim or you can say at the whims. Ooh, is that your sister?
That's my sister Disney.
Ah, Disney, hello. Nice to meet you. I think you're quite small to understand what we're talking about here. About
She's learning English now.
That's cool.
Adult.
She looks so cute. She looks so cute. All right. So, as a result, children are trapped in sweltering schools. Offices are abandoned for the day, and hospitals are forced to operate with minimum support. Even the government itself is affected. So, yes. So basically, that's what we call a very bad quality of life. Let me write it. Quality of life. So the reason why we want a good quality of life is to just live comfortably. And it doesn't seem like they are very comfortable in the article, does it? Yeah. Now, could you read me this paragraph, please? Without could you read the word without?
Without any action by the city to resolve this issue, Many people have taken matters into their own hands, generating electricity independently of the city's electric grid. However, this is an expensive solution not fit for the long term. The other option that people are starting to consider is storing electricity for use, which is more feasible than cranking up an generator every time the power goes out. While power generators are difficult to fuel and maintain, batteries most certainly are not, though they are not as commonly used in backouts. Conventional batteries
Yes,
are
very good.
typically
You can stop there. So there is actually a typo here, and I believe the author just forgot that it's blackouts, not backouts. So if you remember from the first part, we explained the word blackout. Remember? Yes. So in our last lesson, we talked about the word blackout, and blackout just means where no electricity is there. Everything is dark. So that's what blackout means. And the author forgot to spell it correctly. So instead, it should be blackout, not backout. There's no such word as a backout. Yeah. So what does this mean, Daisy?
this
What does this paragraph mean?
this paragraph
It means that since this part is so horrible.
it's horrible.
Yeah, it is horrible. It is horrible that we don't get electricity
And
for
now
so long.
people is thinking, how can they solve it?
Yes, yes, exactly, Daisy. Very good. Now people are thinking about how they can, and specifically it says, taken matters into their own hands. That is an expression to mean how to try to solve it. So what are they solving? They are, what do you think they are solving? Yeah, so they want to generate electricity that's independent of the city's grid. So they don't want to be part of the they don't want to be part of the city's uh, network of electricity because of the widespread shortage. That they think, oh, if it's so bad, if it's so horrible, that we are going to create our own. But what does the author say about this solution? Is it a good solution or a bad solution?
They need to find out a good solution.
Yeah, so this one, generating electricity that's independent, is a bad solution. Why? Because it's too expensive. It's too expensive that Pakistan is already so poor to start with because, I mean, think about it, that they are having trouble with electricity. So their whole country is not very rich. Could they afford independent electricity? No. Therefore, it is not fit for the long term. What does that mean? What does that mean, Daisy? So long term is what we call permanent, and short term is what we call temporary. Have you seen those words before? Yeah, so long term means permanent.
And temporary.
Yeah, so permanent is basically something that's good for the long term. Now, this is not a feasible solution, but what could be a feasible solution? It could be sodium batteries, so sodium ion batteries. So let's continue reading. The next paragraph, I'll read. Conventional batteries are typically inefficient and expensive, making it crucial to develop technology better suited for large-scale energy storage than the ones currently in use. Many alternatives to the traditional lithium battery have been proposed and debated, but there's one that has been rather overlooked. It's the sodium-ion battery. All right, what does the word inefficient and expensive mean? What do they mean? What does the word efficient mean?
And efficient.
Yeah, so inefficient means that it's not efficient, that it takes a long time to get very little things done. So we don't want that. We want fast and we want a lot of work done. We want something that's we want a process that has good quality. So no. Conventional batteries, also known as lithium ion batteries. So lithium ion batteries are not good because they are inefficient and expensive. Now, how could we get something that's suited for large-scale energy storage? So the word large scale means that it's going to be on a massive scale. And in this case, it is a massive scale because we're talking about cities of Pakistan. We're talking about even as big as a country. So that's why we need a good alternative. Does that make sense, Daisy?
Yes.
Yes. Now, what does the word overlooked mean? So the word overlooked means that people are not paying enough attention to it. That if I say, for example, Daisy, you feel that you've been overlooked in class, that means people are not appreciating you enough. So people are not realizing its importance and are not appreciating it enough. So let me write not enough appreciation. The word appreciation just means recognizing its importance. The people are not recognizing the importance of sodium ion yet. Now we have 3 more paragraphs, which we will read in the next part. But